Psycho-Cybernetics book. Summary: because this book had a massive positive effect on my life, I recommend reading the entire book. But here are 10 lessons that have stuck with me. 1. Work on how you perceive yourself. In Chapter 1, The Self-Image, you learn that the person you believe yourself to be is reflected in every action, experience, and, eventually, life outcome. For example, if you believe you are great at math, chances are you are good at math. That belief compounds every time you get the correct answer or easily solve a problem in your head. The same applies to the opposite belief. Suppose you think you are terrible at math and get caught in a negative feedback loop. In that case, you will either avoid it at all costs, never develop your ill-perceived math abilities, or convince yourself you are every time you aren't able to solve the problem. It all comes down to positive self-talk. Positive self-talk is the first obstacle in developing your desired quality of life. Positive self-talk versus positive thinking. In single quote, you confuse positive thinking with positive self-talk. Positive thinking doesn't work beyond superficialities. Self-image improvement begins with the way you speak to yourself. If your mental blueprint comprises negative beliefs, you're making it difficult to have a positive self-image. I learned about self-talk while trying to improve as a baseball pitcher in college. After reading a few books, I discovered that my pitching struggles had nothing to do with my physical ability and everything to do with my internal self-talk. When things didn't go well, I was devastatingly brutal on myself, not only after the game but also while playing. The negative self-talk would cause my pitching to get progressively worse throughout the game, and by the end, I didn't believe I had any pitching abilities. For a while, my self-image was someone who can't throw strikes. To improve, I picked up a few baseball pitching books. I was shocked to discover that most of these books focused very little on technique or the physical aspects of pitching. Instead, they focused on the mental game of the sport. This epiphany changed everything for me. I realized that to improve at pitching, I had to develop new habits by changing my internal dialogue with myself. I created a positive yet realistic self-image through rational thinking and intentional self-improvement strategies. After a while, I started to pitch better, and that successful response convinced me that I was a better pitcher. Eventually, my self-image changed to someone who can and does throw strikes. This leads us to the next insight of psycho-cybernetics. 2. See and experience your goals before they happen. The human mind doesn't know the difference between an imagined and a real experience. If you've seen the movie Inception, you know what I mean. So, here is a little existential question for you. Are you living in a dream right now? Most people enter with a confident no, silently asking themselves if they're mentally all there. But let's think about this for a moment. How often have you been dreaming, what we define as dreaming anyway, and your nervous system felt it was real? That's the power of the human brain's mind and creative imagination. Dr. Maltz, in Psycho-Cybernetics, argues that a human being can tap into our subjective reality for the better. The first key to your success mechanism, also known as your creative mechanism, is imagination and the ability to paint different mental pictures in your mind. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing your goals. I know you've heard this advice hundreds of times, but that's because it works. Do not underestimate how powerful this practice is. You need to see and feel your goals before you can achieve them. Visualizing my goals helps me imagine what it looks like when I've achieved whatever goal I was chasing. How do I feel? What does this achievement mean for me? How do I utilize this success to pursue the next goal? The clearer you can see the goal, the better your subconscious mind can work towards achieving it. 3. Take the first step, even if it's small. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Most quality goals seem impossible when looking at them on the surface." One of your goals is to write 12 3,000-word blog posts. Immediately, you are overwhelmed by all the work that would entail. And in most instances, that is enough reason to abandon the seemingly impossible task. Feeling overwhelmed, your failure mechanism kicks in. That's why it's critical to set a high-level goal first. Then, break down that goal into smaller, easier goals. For example, it's much easier to write 100 words per day than 36,000. 4. Remember that you compete against yourself. You are not inferior or superior to any other human. As Maxwell Maltz says, focus on how the you of tomorrow will be better than the you of today. If you aren't beating what you were yesterday, you're not moving in the right direction to find your best self. Personal growth is the best way to achieve happiness. 5. Set your standards. Are conditioned to believe that other people's standards are our own. Social norms and pressures have ingrained these ideas well into our psyche, and when we fail to meet them, we feel like failures. The only standard that matters is your own. We all have different ideals and different perspectives from each other on what makes a good life. Trusting yourself and your vision for yourself and your life will make the standards of others seem unrelated. Letting go of social norms leads to a better and more productive state of mind. 6. Make mistakes. The more, the better. Maxwell Maltz writes that our mistakes are building blocks for personal success. You've heard this a million times before, but it's true. The more mistakes you make, the more experiences you attain, which means more knowledge. Maltz states that those experiences transcend many areas in your life, and the knowledge from a seemingly unrelated mistake becomes incredibly useful and gives you unlimited power. It acts like scar tissue that builds up over time. Your mistakes don't make you less of a person because you've made them. No one who tried to accomplish something great did it on their first try. I wouldn't take back a single mistake or failure because they were all necessary, however painful they were at the time, steps for getting me to where I am today. I also know that I'm not done making mistakes. I will most likely make a few up until the end, and I welcome them all. I know I'll feel as if I lost or failed on the surface. But those are signals that I'll need to break through plateaus and reach new goals. Embrace failure, even if it may seem scary at first. Making mistakes requires courage, but the result will be worth it. 7. Reframe how you think about projects. Persuade yourself to believe that what you must do today is easy, and you will be more likely to accomplish it. Putting things into perspective takes away the anxiety and dread you feel for the day. When I have a big project, I always ask myself, is it that hard to verbalize my thoughts in this document? The answer is not really. But the more important question is it easy to do so because I have conditioned myself to believe that? I believe so. Remember when you were given a really big project, maybe a shared one? And you expressed your anxiety and the pressure you felt on them. If that person told you it would be a piece of cake, you've done many of these before, you would feel more at ease and start to think the same. Become that person for yourself. There's no need to psych yourself out. Everything you must do today can easily be done. You've done it before. This is a perfect example of the cybernetic mechanism. This phrase is derived from the Greek word for steersman. It refers to the automatic guidance system we all possess. By recalibrating our internal guidance system with positive self-talk, we make it easier to reach success. 8. Live and act in the moment. You can't change yesterday's emotional scars, and you can't control what tomorrow brings. The only thing you have any power over is the present moment. I can choose to continue writing this article, or I can choose to clean my desk. I'm writing because I know it's a higher impact action. I know it can make a positive impact on other people's lives. Cleaning my desk will only impact my wife's life. Plus, the mess isn't going anywhere. It will be there for me to clean after I've completed the higher impact task. This flows into the next insight. 9. Be happy now. We've often struggled to be happy, despite having everything I would ever want. It wasn't until I realized that to be happy is a terrible goal. You will never be happy. You have to be happy now. Happiness is a habit. You must practice it at every moment. Luckily, the desire to be happy is a life force. It's inherently ingrained in every person. The cliché smell of the roses comes to mind. It's the little things that bring simple joys and happiness. No person, accolade, or material object will bring me any more happiness in the future than you or I have right now. Be happy right now, at this precise moment. But don't listen to psycho-cybernetics, and don't listen to me. Listen to a man much wiser than me. 10. Set goals for yourself, not other people's. Goals are nothing more than an attempt to impress others. People believe that by setting and achieving goals, they'll impress others. This is a terrible motive and awful for your mental health. It will bring you emptiness, not happiness. The only reason to set and work towards any goal is to impress yourself. Knowing that you put all your heart and soul into making your dreams a reality will give you a deep sense of purpose and give meaning to your life. You flexed your creative muscles, took control of your life, and steered it towards something tangible and quantifiable. The most important thing is setting and accomplishing goals for you. Success isn't defined by other people. Create your definition of success, and then attain a successful personality. My conclusion on psychocybernetics. I hope you enjoyed learning about the principles of psychocybernetics. I believe it's a book worth investing in and incorporating into your life. I wouldn't be the person I am today without reading psychocybernetics. Yes, it's that serious. Thank you so much for reading this summary of psychocybernetics, and let me know what you think about the book.